Welcome to this episode of The Formula. It's me, Trevor, your host on The Formula podcast, where we break down the experiences, my experiments, and interviews with guests about designing a fulfilling life. So this one is going to be a quick and dirty episode about the reasons why I sold or gave away my stuff to travel the world. I'm not going to get into it too much in the intro, just listen to a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll get this show started. All right. Let's give a quick shout out to our first sponsor of this week's episode, Lady Boss. Lady Boss is a women's health company that provides workout plans, supplements, all kinds of stuff to help women really live more healthy, at least physically better lives. And it was founded by Kaylin Pullen. Hopefully she'll be a guest of the show here sometime soon. Head on over to theformulapodcast.com and click on the sponsored products page if Lady Boss products sound like something that would be interesting for you. Our next sponsor is Liquid Web. Now, if you're looking to launch some type of e-commerce store, drop shipping, whatever it is, maybe you've listened to the episodes with Adrian, Ketsu, or all three of us where we're talking about our different e-commerce ventures that we've gotten into. Liquid Web has these pre-made solutions just for you guys. So they were also nice enough to hook up Formula Podcast listeners with 33% off all their products. So if you type in Formula 33 on the checkout page, you're going to get 33% off whatever you decide to pick up over at liquidweb.com. Now, let's get on to the show. Like I said, this episode is going to be about the reasons why I sold or gave away my stuff to travel the world. So around August of 2018, I packed up a bag and bought a one-way ticket to Prague. This was after I did a 600 mile bike ride across the state of Iowa with friends of mine. And I hopped on a plane and didn't look back. So a lot of people look at that moment in time, including myself, and I'm sure that some think it was kind of a crazy idea because I'm 30 then, I'm 31 now. And it wasn't an easy choice. If I look back, I've always dreamed of long-term travel, of living out of a backpack and doing it. And I think I finally had just put it off for so long that I was kind of like, damn, I'm 30 already. If I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. Part of me was always thinking that there would be a partner, a friend, someone to go with me. And after my last relationship didn't work out, I just kind of made up my mind that I was going to do it on my own. So I did a little experiment about 10 days in Prague with my friends, Adrian and Ashley Brambila. Big thanks to them for getting this all started. And after I came back, I was like, damn, I can do this. I can work and travel and live out of a bag. So I started the process over the next 2-3 months of getting rid of my stuff. I really didn't have that many things already. So I think part of me was already had like one foot out the door, but one foot in the door. I hadn't quite committed yet. So after that little test, I was like, oh man, I'm doing this. So it was scary. It was tough because I was giving up everything I'd ever known. I've only lived in Iowa my entire life, right? I had never left the country until I was 30 years old. Logically, my first time living outside the state of Iowa was living out of a backpack and hopping to a different country every month. So kind of a little extreme. Maybe wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but I would really like to share with you the reasons why I decided to do this. So the first reason was that I felt like time was really going by too fast. There's a lot of days where I couldn't even remember what I had for lunch the day before or how I spent my day. And I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like not being able to remember what I did the last week. Like I just worked, came home, went to sleep, maybe went to the gym, maybe had a couple beers with friends, but it just kind of felt like every day was turning into Groundhog Day a bit. And not to say that I don't love the people that I spent time with and I didn't enjoy my work. It just felt like there had to be more to life than this. So that really pushed me to get started down this path. The second reason, for those people who know me, would probably be a bit surprised, but I would say that I was deeply unhappy. When I spent time alone, I found myself frustrated. I found myself down, that I just didn't feel like things were lining up. I felt just not happy. And I think I was doing some things that were like looking for happiness on the outside, like trying to find happiness from somewhere else, from something, from a person, from business success or romantic relationship, whatever it is. Looking back, I can see myself doing those things. And this was my way of separating myself from that and really allowing myself to find my own form of happiness, which is not really location based. It's more of like, how am I spending my time? Am I happy with who I am as a person? Am I happy with my actions? And when I can check all those boxes and say yes compared to before, I would say that was a really big reason for me. So the third one is I felt like I was chasing something I didn't really want. I felt like I was, I'm gonna build this startup, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that. And it always felt like it was chasing something, chasing a thing, chasing an award, chasing money in my bank account, whatever it was. There was a different root cause, and it was just that I didn't have that internal level of satisfaction or validation I thought I needed. And I thought that by chasing these things or accomplishing things, I would get it. But that's not really true. For a lot of you listening, you probably like, oh yeah, of course, I know that. But for me, I didn't know. I didn't even recognize I was doing it at that moment in time. Looking back, it's a lot easier to see it. Giving up on those goals and those dreams and really asking myself what I really wanted has really led me down a completely different path where I find myself, when I'm alone, I feel much happier, much more settled, and I feel really good. So the fourth reason is I've always been drawn to see the world in order to understand it. I wanted to leave an impact. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to do all these things, but I'd only lived in Iowa my entire life, and you cannot make a difference in something that you don't understand. You can make a difference in your community. You can do a lot of great things without ever leaving your neighborhood. But if you want to have a larger impact, I was striving to at that point in time, you have to see the world. You have to experience it. You have to kind of embed yourself in these other cultures and spend time with these people and get to understand what it's like to live a day in their shoes. It's given me an entirely different perspective. I cannot tell you how fortunate and lucky I feel because of this. I've seen how other people live and how happy some of the people are in some of the very poor countries. And they have nothing, but they are always willing to give. They're always willing to, be generous hosts. And it's so funny to me that, in Thailand, a lot of these people would sit on the floor when they would eat dinner or meals with family, and they just post up around like a little coffee table like thing and all share a meal. They're all in good spirits, they're all having fun, and they don't have much, but they're still happy. So that was a big eye-opening moment for me. That was a big reason why I felt like I needed to see this, because if you'd have told me that before I left, I probably would have been like, oh yeah, it kind of makes sense, but we're not the same. I don't know. I said something, but actually seeing it with my own two eyes really allowed me to get a deep understanding of different parts of the world, how it works. So I'm not done yet. I'm not pretending to be an expert on the matter. I'm just saying that I've seen a lot more than I did before, and it's allowed me to understand parts of my own life that I never quite could grasp. So the fifth reason why is I felt alone. It's funny because we used to throw these amazing dinner parties, or some of my friends would throw these live concerts in their living rooms, and we'd gather all these people. I loved them all. I really enjoyed spending time with them, and it just felt amazing to me. Like I felt like I was extremely lucky for the people that I've been able to meet, especially back in Iowa. And, shout out to you guys for being amazing. You know who you are, the people that have attended some of our dinner parties. It was this weird feeling though. When I was around everyone, I felt alive. I felt good, But then when I was by myself, I just felt lonely. It's not that I felt lonely because I was sitting alone. I felt lonely because I just felt like something was missing. I felt as if there was a piece of the puzzle that wasn't there. I didn't know what it was. I still don't necessarily know why I felt so lonely at that point in time. I don't get those feelings much anymore. And maybe it's because I'm surrounded quite often by other travelers, people who have shared values with me, and people that I can seem to relate or connect with in just like, the snap of a finger. That could be it. I just didn't feel like that other than the people that I was friends with and the people that, would attend these dinner parties, that there was a lot of other people that I related with on a regular basis. I wanted to change that. That was another reason why I decided to do all of this. Number 6, this is a tough one to admit, but it was this thing that scared me the most. Man, I had never lived outside of Iowa. Never. I had never left the country until I was 30 years old. Never. I guess Canada, but I don't think that counts. So, I was so scared of this. I was terrified. I cried before I left because I was so scared of giving the life I had up for no idea what was going to happen. I had no clue. And it was terrifying. It was scary, but I knew I had to do it. I don't know why. I just felt like this was the thing that if I wanted to live the life that I had dreamt up in my head, this was like this big mountainous challenge that I had to overcome. It scared the living shit out of me. And I still don't know how I actually did it. If I had to go back, I would really credit my friend Heather Marquez for helping me to break things down into micro steps a bit. So it was, can you get your passport? Yes. Can you find a flight to a place you want to go? Yes. Can you book the flight? Yes. Can you get on the plane? Yes. So it's just, instead of being like, can I sell my stuff and travel the world for God knows how long and just hope that things work out, it wasn't asking myself that. It was doing these small things that helped me to get there. So number 7 is I wanted to prove that I could do it. I always had this feeling in my head that if you dropped me off in a city with no cell phone that I had never been to, I could find my way out. I could find my way home. I always felt that way, but I had never done it. So, I figured the best way to prove to myself that I was capable of these things is to throw myself into it head first. Maybe not the smartest way to do it all the time. Just kind of closing your eyes and taking a step is, how I've ended up living my life and how I hope to continue living it for some time. I'm not taking unnecessary risks, but still taking a risk, whatever that means to me. So number 8, and the last one. This is what I've always dreamed about since I was a kid. I remember when my mom, shout out to my mom for being awesome. I remember when my mom used to babysit a bunch of kids, and me included, and we'd all hang out and stuff, and I'd go to the swimming pool, and I'm very white, so I'd get sunburnt typically really badly. And there was a library next to the pool though, and when I was sunburnt, I would go to the library and I would just read stacks and stacks of books. I loved reading as a kid. I would just devour these things. I mean, imagine having no smartphone and just sitting in the library with books and a notebook, man, just running through books. And I just remember reading these. I remember reading Lord of the Rings when I was a little kid, and all these different books, history books, biographies, stories. I think I read a lot of like Brian J. Terry Brooks, his series. And just imagining that there had to be more out there. Because I don't blame anyone for this idea of the world, but it always felt to me that we only really had 2 paths growing up where I'm from. And that was to go to school, get a job, respectful job in an industry that you liked or that you felt like you'd be good at, and then go get a job. And that's your path. The other one was don't go to school and get a job, an entry-level job at one of the local factories, and work your way up from there. And they paid good starting money. It was good living, but they never really felt like me. I wanted to write. I wanted to tell stories. I wanted to see what the world was all about. I wanted to go on these adventures that I read about. So I've always dreamed about this. And it's still surreal to me that I took the leap and I've been able to do it. But I'm here. I'm currently recording this one, and this is my 3rd time in the Czech Republic in the last 12 months. So yeah, still kicking and still moving forward. I just want to take the time to share with you why I decided to take this step. And, I hope that you can listen to this and learn a few things for yourself. Maybe there's something that you've always dreamt of doing, always wanted to do, and you're afraid of it. I'm scared of a lot of things still. I face a lot of my fears, but, for every fear I seem to overcome, there's one that's waiting right past it. So think about what are these things that we face? Why are we holding ourselves back? Why are we afraid of them? Think through that, and then just figure out if we can take that first step. Make it as small as possible. If you want to travel, maybe it's just getting your passport. Maybe it's booking a plane ticket. Maybe it's just looking for flights to a place. Maybe it's just deciding where you want to go or when. Break it down into small bite-sized pieces that make it easy for you. Don't make it this huge thing. Just make it easy. It doesn't have to be hard. And then you can always just make it an experiment. I mean, the first time I left, it was definitely an experiment. It was, can I do this? Can I handle this? Am I going to enjoy it? And it was 10 days long. And then my next experiment was somewhere around like 4 or 5 months. When I got back from Serbia to the US for the holidays, I was doing a check-in. Is this the life I want to live? Am I enjoying myself? Am I okay? And the answer was yes. I mean, I'm like, hell yeah, let's keep this thing going. That's how I felt. It was crazy to me. So take some time, think about that for yourself. And well, that is a wrap for this quick little episode about the reasons why I sold or gave away my stuff and decided to travel the world. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, our listener base has been growing quite a bit recently. I'm really excited about it. It means a lot that people are taking the time to tune in and listen to our message and hear some of the messages from our guests. I'm very grateful, and I really appreciate it. Now, if I could ask one teeny tiny favor, if you have somewhere around 60 seconds, if you could open up your podcast app, whether that's on iTunes or whatever one it is, give us a review so that way people like you can find our show and we can keep on growing. That's a wrap for this week's show. I'm Trevor Carlson, and I look forward to you tuning in next time.